We're live. Hello. Hi. I exist again. Oh, hi everybody. Sorry I missed last week. Last week was I need a polite way to say the phrase I have been saying because it's not like appropriate when I talk about how last week went because last week was very bad. For lots of different reasons. And the way I've been talking about how bad it is um not suitable for polite company. So, yeah, I'm just going to say it was very bad. It was very bad. But it involved I didn't have power last Tuesday and then I didn't have power again until you know, Thursday night. Like I lost power Monday afternoon and I didn't get back till Thursday night. Hey, Hungry. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, it was a bad time. It's a bad time. And that was just that was inconvenient, but that wasn't even anywhere near the worst of it. It's a bad week. But anyway, I'm back. I have power this week. I have internet this week, so I can actually stream. I'm not stranded because my a street is flooded. I've rejoined civilization, sort of, and as much as I ever do. And we're going to continue working on this cute design that I was hoping to finish last week and then didn't get to. And now we're gonna continue. I'm making the little ferns. That's the last part of the penciling part of it that I needed to do, and that's what I'm gonna work on. Because yeah, I'm sure even if you don't live in the Northeast, you probably saw at least passing mention in the news that a major wind and rainstorm hit the Northeast last week, and that huge numbers of people were out of power, especially in Maine, um, and that there was a lot of flooding in Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire, especially. But yeah, in Maine, we had three major rivers reach almost record levels of flooding, and one of those three is the one my house is on. It's the one I live on. One of those three major historic flooding rivers was the one that is right outside of my house. So, and cuts my town in half, essentially. So, we had like everybody around here lost power. And it was just like pretty much everyone lost power, and it was just a matter of like how quickly you got your power back. And some people got their power back pretty quickly. Like some people luckily got it back a little over 24 hours. Wasn't too bad. Some of us were less fortunate. I lost power on Monday afternoon, and it is not the longest I've ever been without power here, but it was close. It was in the running. Um, yeah, I lost it Monday afternoon at like 1, didn't get it back until 7:30ish on Thursday night. So that was not fun. And our river flooded so badly. I live on the Piscataquis River, and the Piscataquis River cuts my town in half, essentially. A lot of people here in this town live right on the river because it's hard not to, pretty much. And I live up a high enough bank that we didn't have to worry about like our house flooding, but the end of the road got completely submerged in water at one point, like enough that we could not go anywhere, enough that you could not drive through it. Like if you really wanted to walk around it, you could, but you like by like going through the woods, you you could not travel the road. It was underwater. As well as several of the different ways in and out of town were underwater. So if you needed to go anywhere, you had to go quite a long way around. And that, like the weirdest part about that, like what was kind of counterintuitive about that was that immediately after the storm, like during the storm, the road hadn't flooded, and immediately after the storm, like some parts of the road had flooded, but not like all of the parts that ultimately would, because it actually like took a while for some of the smaller like rivers and streams and stuff to drain into the bigger river and cause it to flood, because it did not actually get to like its peak flooding right away. That didn't happen until like the next day, later on in the next day, until everything was pretty calm. So like Tuesday was actually like a bright, clear, beautiful day, but the water just kept coming up and coming up and coming up, even though it wasn't raining. It was pretty distressing. And the flood did not like peak and then start to recede until like overnight. I think it was like around midnight sometime on Tuesday that it finally started to recede. And then it went down pretty quickly once it started to recede. And then thankfully, like people could actually start moving around and getting to some recovery efforts and everything. And that was also part of why it took so long for power to get restored, because it's like you can't go and hook up power lines if the road is underwater. It doesn't work. So that was fun. That was just part of my crazy week. And there's one bridge on my road. So there's like a short way to get into town, like the town where I can, go to the post office and get groceries and stuff. There's the short and easy way to get into town, and that bridge, the bridge into the short and easy way into town, has been destroyed. It was destroyed in the flood, and so now I have to go all the way around the other side of town, and it takes considerably longer and is many more miles. And that is going to be the way that it is for the foreseeable future. The Maine Department of Transportation has no idea when they are going to fix the bridge that has been destroyed. They don't even know. So that's also fun. But anyway, that's all just a very long explanation about what I've been up to and why I kind of didn't do anything online last week. I didn't update my comic or stream or anything because I did not have power. I did not have internet. I was just like, if I could just get through each of these days and like keep my family fed and cleaned and go to work and all of stuff. That's all I was trying to accomplish pretty much. But we through all of that, thankfully. Anyway, I hope everybody else had a much better week and a good holiday weekend if in fact you did the holiday weekend this past weekend. I need to find an eraser and clean some of these little guidelines up. I feel like I'm working on these tiny details and you guys are like really far away. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Will you stay there? Is my camera gonna like go shooting back up away from what I just did here? I might need to adjust the focus. That looks a little bit fuzzy. One moment while I adjust focus. Because I'm doing all these little tiny details, it seems kind of silly to have the camera pulled back so far when I'm working on these itty bitty pieces. So you can see better. Let's see. Come on, control panel, open up. Why are you so slow? Oh, that got very fuzzy. Nope. Nope. What are you doing? What is happening here? I guess that's better. Is that better? Or is it the same? Oh. Okay, I think that was probably the best it was gonna get. I think we're gonna go with that. Okay. Okay, I feel like that's a little better anyway. I will endeavor to stay in frame. If I drift out of frame, just start yelling at me in the chat, and maybe I'll notice. But yes, I hope everybody had a good holiday and hopefully a less dramatic week than I did, because that wasn't even all of it. Like it gets so much more ridiculous. But I don't want to just like complain this whole time that I'm on this stream. It was just it was not a fun week. And I'm glad it's over. And I'm still kind of exhausted from it all. Where's my eraser? I also had like kind of a stressful week at work and of like stuff I can't even really just like government stuff, but fun. And then my kid got sick and had to miss my family's Christmas celebration, and also my cat suddenly died. I wish I was even making up how absurd this week was, but I'm not, and I'm still kind of like in shock about some of this stuff even happening. We're all very sad about the kitty, Mr. Odin, who I know I have talked about on stream before, and you've probably seen pictures of on my social media because he was very handsome and he was a super sweet boy. I need to pull back up my reference before I just start making weird, vaguely plant-shaped shapes that are not correct. Hello, little spider friend. You're so wee little spider friend. What you doing, bud? Hey, man. My drawing is not the best place for you. You should probably move along. Thank you. All right, let's clean up some of that scribbly underdrawing there. Oh, that's a nice looking fern. I'm gonna do the other side of this one though. Other side of this frond. Okay, yay. There's one side of the design is now finished. Now I have to do this other fern over here. So that's going to be more of the little itty bitty details. And then we can start inking, which is fun. So just kind of roughing in the general shape of each of these little, I don't know what you call them. It's like this whole thing is a frond. What do you call the smaller little stems that come off of it that have the little leaves that come off of the frond? Are they stems? Are they branches? I don't know. I don't know. If someone knows, do tell me. I'm curious. Okay. I need to sharpen my pencil before I get into some of these little bits here. Okay. So we start doing some of these itty bitty little details. Am I in frame? I am in frame. Okay, good. Clean up some of this scribbliness. What is that? What is that line? What are you doing here? Oh, whoops, I messed up. I'm missing one. I'm missing a little leaflet. Let's fix that. There we go. I miscalculated. Let's try that again. Okay. I will admit at a certain point you kind of got to like step back a little bit because all these little details start to kind of mush together and you're not seeing them very clearly. So I got to like hold it at arm's length and look at something further away for a second because it's just like what is even happening? Who is there? It's Jason. Merry Christmas. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hope you had a good holiday weekend. All right. Hooray. Look, the penciling. The penciling, it is done. We have a lovely pencil design. Yay. All right. So now what do we want to do to ink this? Let's see. So I got some new ink because the thing I was running into. So okay, I got the Zig Kuretake Super Black ink 60. Um, I can't read most of this bottle. I don't speak Japanese. I can't read it. I'm gonna read this part. That's about it. So the thing is, like, I got this ink because I kept on running into the issue of where's my itty bitty little I don't have it over here. My itty bitty little bottles of the Royal Talons ink. I really liked the Royal Talons ink for using a nib pen, but when I got my new nib holder, it doesn't fit in the Royal Talons ink bottle. And also, there's only one place I can find the Royal Talons ink. The only place, the only place I have been able to find the Royal Talons ink is on Art Snacks. And I mean, I don't mind getting stuff from Art Snacks. They're cool, they're fine. But I do very much mind only being able to get this art supply one place ever. And that there's almost nothing else that I really need from Art Snacks. And so it's always just like, yes, I would like to place an order for 4 bottles of ink and nothing else. Like, it's annoying. But then once I couldn't fit my pen holder in the bottle anymore, I was like, "Okay, we need to try something new because this has become an issue." So, I just got this. I just tried using it a little bit this evening. I'm not super sold on it yet. It's kinda thick and, like, this is supposed to be the type of pen that it's supposed to work with, and it doesn't seem to wanna flow very well through it. And so I don't know. I'm not sold on it yet. We'll see. I don't know if there's Zig makes, like, the Kuretake Zig stuff, there's a ton of different, like, varieties of ink that they have, and so I just found one that had, like, a good amount of, like, people saying, "Hey, yeah, this one's pretty good. It's nice and actually black, and it's" and they said it worked pretty well with pens, and so I don't know. Maybe I just haven't found, like haven't quite found how to, like, vibe with it yet. I don't know. We're gonna try. My phone camera can Google Translate it? What? I'll have to try that later. All these itty bitty little details. It's coming out pretty nice. Jason says, "I'm always blown away by people with steady enough hands for detail like that." Thank you. I know I've mentioned on the stream before, but I will just say that there's a few things that go into that as well. Obviously, practice is a big part of it. And obviously, some people just can't help that their hands are not terribly steady for any number of reasons. But I generally can't do any of this really fine inking like this, like in the morning, shortly after I've had coffee, because I get a little bit of a caffeine like jitter. Um, and also, I do have to warm up a little bit. So I was working for about 2 hours before I started the stream this evening. So I'm very nice and warmed up, and so a lot of the, like, stiffness and resistance that you first get when you first start working and you're not fully warmed up yet has worked its way out of my system, so I get a lot smoother lines at this point. So if you can warm up first by spending some time doing something that doesn't need to be quite as steady, like sketching or just doing some rough penciling, or, what I was doing was actually still inking, but I was doing stuff with, like, drafting tools, so using, like, straight edges and French curves where I can rely on the tool while started to warm up, then that also helps. So yeah, it is a large part of it is practice. A large part of it is just how steady are your hands kind of inherently. Like there's certain, some people just have like neurological issues or muscle issues or connective tissue issues where they're not going to be able to have like super steady hands. But if you don't have those limitations, or even with a certain amount of those limitations, there is stuff you can do to help facilitate having a steadier, cleaner line. Whoop. All right, I'm gonna leave that corner for a minute because we're gonna start getting into areas that are overlapping that. So let's see. I am gonna want to do some of this in brush. We'll have to come back to that in a bit, but we'll go ahead and do this with the pen. Oh, I ran out of ink. That line did not end up the way I wanted it to because I ran out of ink. Okay. Let's try to get that a little bit thicker. There we go. Okay. We have little thorns. Got thorns sticking out of there. Let's see. I want to do these whiskers and a nice thin pen stroke. And there goes my ink again. Okay. Here we go. Trying not to get my hand in any ink I just put down, because that would be bad. Okay. I'm very quiet because I'm focusing. I'm trying not to screw up on some of these very, very fine and intricate little bits here. All right. All the little thorns are done. Good. Good, good. Okay, we'll do a little bit of the fern over here. Basically, like, I want to make as much progress as I can. I don't particularly want to get out my brush and get my brush dirty for like 10 minutes of working and then have to clean it and put it away. That just seems silly. I'm going to get as much done as I can with the pen because I would like to do like the flowers, the actual like flowers and these little like daisy leaf bits in the cat's face with the brush, but, like I said, I don't really wanna get the brush out and work with it for, like, 10 minutes and then have to clean it, because the stream's over. That just seems silly. All the tiny little leaves. Alright. So when I'm getting to the point where this part of the frond is overlapping this little gorse sprig here that is in the foreground, I really wanna lighten up on my line weights so that the fern kinda pushes back a little bit and does not compete with the gorse sprig for being in the foreground. So we're just gonna try to make sure that we go in this with a little bit lighter touch. Give that some thinner line weights so that it is not trying to compete visually and, like, confuse itself with the other element in the design here. Because it is really complex, but we don't want it to be like we don't wanna have people look at it and have them be, like, confused about what they're seeing and make it difficult to parse visually. Like, you want it to be complex but still comprehensible, if that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense. But basically, we start to make these lines lighter. Maybe we don't connect all of them so that the lines, as you can see, the lines of the gorse sprig are a lot heavier. They're a lot bolder. So that will help bring them forward while the lines on the fern frond help push them back a little bit because they're a little bit lighter. All right. So hopefully you can see that effect kind of happening where they overlap a little bit in this area. And then obviously once I actually ink the blossoms, that will also help with that effect. Because right now it's only half done, so you're not getting the full effect. Mm, mm, mm. I think I might have screwed that up. Yep, I accidentally added an extra leaf. Whoops. That was silly of me. Nobody's counting, just me. I'm the only one who's counting. It's true. Literally the only person who's going to notice. All right, but we are now in the last 10-ish minutes of the stream, so I'm going to do the YouTube things whilst I work on this last little bit here. So, I'm Amanda Call. This is my YouTube channel, and I'm here just about every Tuesday when I'm not dealing with a major weather disaster at 8 p.m. Eastern, working on some kind of artwork. It's very often my comic. It hasn't been my comic lately just because of where I am in the comic right now, where I'm not at a good spot to try to show you guys what I'm working on. So we'll get back to that soon, hopefully. But yeah, my comic is Age of Night. You can read it online for free at ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. Updates just about every Wednesday. Again, when I'm not, dealing with a major weather disaster where I don't have power or internet for like a week. So yes, I missed last week's update because on account of all of the disaster stuff, but there will be a new page tomorrow. We'll be back on schedule come tomorrow. And while you can read all of Age of Night online for free, there's also ways that you can help support me, including a Patreon. I have Patreon at patreon.com/Age of Night, which is spelled the same way as the comic. Patrons get all of their Age of Night pages a week early. So whatever is like updated on the website this week, patrons already saw it and they will get to see next week's update, which is pretty cool. You also get free comics. You get more like behind the scenes sneak peeks at what I'm working on. Lots of cool stuff. And it also just really helps me out. I appreciate it. If you are interested in doing more of like a one-off donation, I do also have a Ko-Fi, coffee, however you want to pronounce it. That's at ko-fi.com/Amanda Call Art. So pretty much anywhere you want to find me on the internet, I am either found as Age of Night or Amanda Call Art. because I am bad at branding consistently, apparently. Aw, that's looking so pretty. I got a couple more minutes. I'll do a little bit more over here. I'm gonna clean some of my pen is getting a little bit gunky, so I'm just gonna clean it off a little bit and then do a little bit more of this fern frond over here before we say goodnight. I don't have a ton left on this though, so I probably will not do another whole stream. I might do like a short or something time lapse of me finishing it up. Just because I don't think I'm gonna have a whole other hour's worth of work in this. I don't think the brush and remaining ink work is gonna take me that long. So I don't know. We'll see what we do next week. Open to suggestions. What is that? There's like, what is this? There's some kind of weird stuff on my pen. What is happening here? What is this chunk of gunk? There is gunk. I don't want it. Don't like that. Gross. All right. Anyway, let's get just a little more done before we say goodbye. Also, I don't know what I'm going to do with this design. I don't really have a plan for it. What do you think I should do with this design? Sound off in the comments. Let me know. Should it be prints? Should I make it into a screen print so it can be on like bags and shirts and stuff? Should I do stickers or what? What should I do? What should I do with this? If you have a suggestion, let me know. All right. Last screen print postcards. Postcards is a good idea. You like the idea of a screen print though, so that it can be on lots of different things? It can take lots of different forms. All right, that is going to do it for this evening. The only other update I have is that I don't have any events coming up for a while. I'm in hibernation mode, with the exception of SnowCon, where I do not sell artwork. I go to help run SnowCon, which is my local gaming convention. I'm on the staff there. I'm currently the crown regent of SnowCon, so I will also be passing my crown on to whoever is crowned regent this time. And I usually run a game or two, so if you're in the Bangor area, I'd love to see you there. It's a great time. So that will do it for this evening. I had this mostly penciled, but I had to draw those little fern fronds, and we got a nice start on the inking. And that is where we are at the end of tonight's stream. Thanks everybody for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.